All I can say is that the fake news just doesn't get it, do they? They don't get it.
They don't get it, and they are convinced, they are committed to lying about this country, to enhance their own power. How many times have you heard Democrats and various media people talk about what a racist country we have, right? It's like the soundtrack of our lives. I could play this for hours. I'm only going to play it for a little bit. We've shown you before, but here's a taste.
We've seen with horrifying clarity the cost of systemic racism.
We have a system that is built on systemic racism, and we have to dismantle that system piece by piece.
It is time we face up to the reality of systemic racism in all of its forms.
Racism is
all right,
systemic.
and it goes on and on and on like this. You say it long enough, people will start believing it. They have corrupted this country. It's really, really unfortunate because we are not that. We aren't. We are good people. We've got a great system. And yeah, here's proof, actually. We want to do good things, right? We want to be virtuous. We'll even vote for a guy who's not qualified for a job because he looks a certain way. I'm talking about Barack Obama, of course. So here he is. This is the day he becomes a United States Senator, January 4th of 2005. Okay, good luck in the Senate. Maybe in 10, 15 years, you can run for the top job. No. 2 years later, he decides he's running for president.
I stand before you today to announce my candidacy for president of the United States of America.
Now, that's pretty audacious, right? 2 years in the Senate, and then he goes for the top job? Now, this is not going to work in a systemically racist country. The guy's black. That's why it worked. That's why it worked. People thought that he could bring about real change and help interracial relations. Instead, he exploited them for his own purposes. So he declares in 2007. He wins in 2008, of course. Remember that? Big night, beautiful night. Even I smiled. I thought it was a nice thing. And then, of course, he gets sworn in a couple of months. Can you believe this? A guy goes from getting sworn in 2005 as a first-term senator to president of the United States 4 years later. And we're supposed to be a systemically racist country. You could say this is too simplistic. No, this is obvious. This is proof that we're not. This is proof. And he was unqualified, by the way. Look at all the things we threw out, the things we usually value: experience, judgment, familiarity, knowing somebody. No, we got rid of all of it because, well, because. So here's more proof that we're not a systemically racist country. What's going on at the border? Now, you can look at this footage, as we all have. All these folks are coming in, and I understand their wish to be in America. I wish they weren't coming here like this, at great risk to themselves and, yes, to America in certain respects. But you notice something. You could look at this footage for hours, and you won't see one white person. These are all people of color. Well, haven't they heard about the systemic racism here? They know better. They don't believe the fake news. They know that this is the land of opportunity. Hey, remember this with the Border Patrol on the horses? They weren't trying to keep these people in. They were trying to keep them out. They were doing their job protecting the border. I noticed all of these people kept trying to dodge the horse and get into America. Again, the systemically racist country. It's all nonsense, and we know it. But why do they keep saying it? And kind of out of the blue when you think about it. Well, back in 2019, 2020, there were some pretty crummy Democrats running. I mean, everybody knew. None of these people really could do it. Bernie Sanders was not going to win. Nobody could win. The only guy they could kind of conceive of possibly beating Donald Trump, or at least we could portray it as such, was Joe Biden. So how do you make a guy who's in his late 70s, who's no civil rights champion, who's never really talked about the issue? How do you make this happen? How do you make him the culture of woke? Well, I don't know. You've got to rearrange society and lie about a lot of things. And now that he's in power, the lying continues. The media can't get enough of it. Certain people in the media, they're telling these lies to enhance their own power. Take a look.
schools are filled with more than just straight, white, cisgender folks who are being robbed of their education. Black Lady Courtroom, welcome back to the Sunday Show.
What Tim Scott is participating in is a willful political strategy to engender fear in white people and to play on it.
Sophia, as the former Republican here on the panel, what's up with your boy Tim Scott?
The treatment of American history really kind of glossed over, for the most part, and ignored some of the atrocities, including the enslavement of Black people.
We don't teach history accurately. We don't teach why critical race theory in its purest form, why it's a very important thing to teach about structures of racism that persist from the time this country was founded forward.
As always, thank you for coming to the Sunday Show. That is the Black Lady Courtroom, y'all.
Talk about this panel in depth in a moment. But first, what they were reacting to in part was Senator Tim Scott, Republican of South Carolina, who made this very reasonable statement.
Parents have a right to know what their kids are being taught in the classroom. Teaching kids that some are oppressors is just as bad as teaching other kids that they're always going to be victims.
Okay, I buy that. The panel, they were outraged by it. By the way, the panel, all very educated people, but I noticed sometimes they kind of change the way they talk, right? I mean, who's done that before?
We ain't got time to be time. We don't have time to be tired.
We don't got. It's all so phony, and it's all designed to enhance his power, his status, especially with white folk, by the way. And getting back to that panel, I don't think they represent anybody but themselves, and they're racializing everything, and the way they do it is to enhance their power. And oh, by the way, I think this is interesting. I also think it's great. They're all, three of them are in great committed relationships, and love is love, and it's beautiful that they found partners. I don't care what race they are, but I am going to point out that Jonathan Capehart happens to be with a white man, and that's wonderful, but it does undermine the whole idea that this is a systemically racist country with white supremacists everywhere. Same goes for Maya Wiley. Her husband is not Black, and Kimberly Atkins Storr. Same goes for her. And, oh, by the way, the two most prominent Black women in the country are married to white men. Ketanji Brown Jackson. Didn't hear much about that, by the way. And who's that? The second gentleman, Doug Elliman, somebody like that. Emhoff is Kamala's husband. That's great. Again, love is love. But it does undermine that whole notion. Now, take a look at this. It's an article by a Stanford University professor. He's got his thoughts on this. His name is Ralph Richard Banks, and he says the following. Put it up on the screen, please. There has been little discussion in the media or culture about the white partners of prominent Black women like Harris or Brown Jackson. Goes on to say, I hope this reflects the increasing social acceptance of such unions. If so, then Black women will be able to enjoy the relationship freedom they deserve. And I think that's great. He also points out, however, that, well, there aren't enough Black men to marry for educated Black women. It's a real thing. And we can just go around saying, well, we're not going to talk about that. Or as he says, it's all because of racism that there aren't more Black men to marry. But I have a feeling the problem is deeper and not being talked about. Not at all. Can't talk about it, right? Only certain groups can, and only certain people who look a certain way. The New York Times can write about this issue all day long, and they do. Oh, interracial dating. It's very, very, well, it's a very, very topical issue for the left. They can talk about it on their terms. Look, love is love. You marry whoever you want. That's great. But the disappearing Black male is a thing. And going back to the New York Times, they've documented it before they went totally crazy woke. 1.5 million missing Black men. Yes, prison. You can call it mass incarceration if you want. You can, diabetes. There are all kinds of things working against Black men in this country. And they're not going to be fixed by talking about critical race theory, okay? They are going to be fixed if more people would speak out like Barack Obama once did.
And in the African American community.
That was something else. And if you don't have a father, well, the chances are that you might wind up in jail. They're at least greater. Illiteracy, all kinds of negative things happen potentially without a father in the home. It's true. It's been documented, or at least a two-parent family. Barack Obama also pointed out at one point in his presidency that reading, literacy in the black community is considered bad. It's considered not cool. He said it.
African Americans in communities where I've worked, there's been notion of acting white, which sometimes is overstated, but there's an element of truth to it where, okay, if boys are reading too much, then, well, why are you doing that? Or why are you speaking so properly? And the notion that there's some authentic way of being black, that if you're going to be black, you have to act a certain way and wear a certain kind of clothes, that has to go.
That does have to go. But has anybody been talking about it? Has anyone been pushing back? No. So it hasn't gone away. That's still a thing. And talking about critical race theory, he's saying that in the black community, in certain parts of it, it's not considered cool or acceptable to read books. What difference does it make if critical race theory is in those books? We got far more basic problems. And now this.
Black lives matter. Black lives matter. Black lives matter. Black lives matter.
Black Lives Matter, of course, Black Lives Matter, but not the way the Black Lives Matter organization says. They only care about black lives if those lives have been taken by white cops. No, Black Lives Matter. And the life of 3-year-old Yasim Jenkins certainly mattered. Look at this adorable kid. He died at 3 this past Tuesday. Yasim was just 11 months old in October of 29 when his father, Nafes Monroe, took him along on a ride to buy drugs in North Philadelphia. Police say Monroe tried to use counterfeit money to buy the drugs and routinely brought his kids along in hopes of keeping the dealers calm. It did not work, and the dealer opened fire after the whole arrangement went south. Monroe was convicted of using Yasim as a human shield. The toddler was shot 4 times, including 1 bullet in the neck and another in the head. He initially survived and was thought to be recovering for the past 2 years, but there were complications, and prosecutors believe his death last week was a result of his original injuries. If autopsy results confirm that, his father and the convicted drug dealer, Francisco Ortiz, could both have their charges upgraded to murder. Yasim's family held a vigil for him last week.
His endless fight. How many adults you know went through what he went through and survived? He was the most happiest baby you ever met in your life. He was joy.
And look at that picture. He was joy. I don't think I can ever forget this picture. Less than 24 hours after Yasim was shot back in 2019, the exact same 9mm handgun was used to shoot another baby. 2-year-old Nicolette Rivera died after being shot in the back of the head. She was just playing inside her North Philadelphia home when someone sprayed it with bullets. Cops say Rivera's killer got the gun from the dealer who shot Yasim Jenkins, that little kid, that little toddler, 3 years old now. So I feel like these lives, these issues are far more important than what's in a textbook in Florida. Don't you? We'll be right back. Yasim Jenkins, 3 years old.